All right, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that. I was having some technical difficulties, but I'm back. Give it a minute. Give it a minute for some people to get back on. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it happens like that. Go through some technical difficulties. Sometimes you gotta log off, you gotta log back on. You know, I'm on three different devices, so sometimes some things get locked up and I gotta start over again. But hit that like button. We're gonna give it a minute. We're gonna give it a minute. Give me a second, Some people come on, then I'm gonna come back on. Give me a minute. Okay, hit that like button, hit that like button as soon as you step in, hit that like button. I'm back. I'm back. Was going through some things, technical difficulties. Sometimes, like I said, it happens. So where was that? Oh, so like I said with Steve Stout, he beat Steve Stout down with that champagne bottles, you know what I mean? So as time moved forward, Puffy became more powerful. He got into the clothing game. You know, he was getting money with those Jewish people. He got into the liquor game. He getting money with those people. He became very powerful. And on top of that, he's part of the Boulets. For y'all don't know what the Boulets is. I did a content on them. The Boulets is the first black fraternity ever in America. These were people that was former slaves, or better yet, I would say former slaves. They came from they were grandchildren of slaves, because it was started in the early 1900s. It was a black fraternity that wasn't actually in an actual school as of yet. They were actually successful black people, black men, and they were only picking other black people that were successful like themselves, and they were a secret society. The Boulets, as right now, are considered the gatekeepers of the black community. They control every fraternity and sorority order in your universities or your colleges or you secret societies, and that's what you are. You are a secret society. Don't say you're not, because you can't tell me certain things of your order. You can't advertise it online. You can't talk about it online. Everything is a secret. So you are part of a secret society. And this is what Puff is a part of. Dr. Martin Luther King is a part of. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Adam Clayton Powell, even the mayor is part of this fraternity. Um, they were part of fraternities and sororities like Rosa Parks and all of them in colleges. And as they stepped out of college and became successful in the entertainment world or the civil rights movement, they became part of the Boulets, which are the gatekeepers of the black community. I don't know. I wonder what they really talk about too. I really want to know what they talk about. But I know they talking about trying to better the community. They're also talking about, being yes man to their master, their former slave masters, because the root of that order is the House of Negroes. See, the most trusted Negroes that the white man can trust, they gave them the education that they wanted them to have that was more better than the field Negroes. So they was trusted to go to school and be trusted to always not try to overthrow their system. So Puffy is a part of that system. As long as you got the money and the fame, and the jury and the women, they don't care. But once you start talking about you want to own something, once you start talking about you want to make your own political party to help your people, you become a problem. And that's what happened to Puff because he wanted to make his own black political party outside of Black Caucus, which is the Boulets. He didn't want nothing to do. See, what happens is, after a while, even though Puff is not perfect, after a while, when you start getting up there, you begin to see the truth. Once you're down and they giving you, they say, "Oh, Puff, you're my man," and you on good terms. You like, yeah, and they say, "Listen, we're gonna put you on like Jay-Z. We're gonna give you, $100 million over here, and we're gonna let you get us investments, and we're gonna invite you to the gala, and you dress in those little funny looking ass clothes that we don't even wear in the black community that it looks suspect to us. It makes you look, I don't know why. I won't even say gay because I'm not homophobic, but it makes you look other than yourself. Once you get onto that level, you start seeing the racism. Once you start saying, okay, you gave me so much education and so much knowledge, I don't want you to be in control of me no more. I want to control my own destiny now. You helped me along the way. Now I want to do this. I want to go back and help my own community. Y'all all buying up buildings in my community. I want to do that too. And I want to put my people up in there. When you start talking like that, they go like, okay, he's becoming difficult. That's what the term they use. You're becoming difficult. Can't reason with you. This is how they talk. You know what I'm saying? They don't say, oh, now you ain't going with our flow. You ain't doing what I say. They say you're becoming difficult. Becoming difficult. So they had to slow Puff up. You understand what I'm saying? Just like the Boulets, the gatekeepers, when Dr. Martin Luther King stepped outside of their circle, he realized what was going on. And he said that I want you to go back to your own community. I want you going to the white community. Now segregation is over. Come back. You know what I'm saying? I want you to do this over here. I want you to build up. I want you to build your community and take your money and finance everything. He became a problem. So hold on, man. You talking different. We talking about moving everything out the community and going to the white community so white people can take over. Now you're talking about coming back and like Martin, you stepping out now. And said now ban the sanitation workers. I mean the sanitation company, that's part of the mob. They control that. This Negro gotta go. And they blew his throat out. Killed him right in front of Jesse Jackson on a balcony. I won't even say a balcony, but it was near it was on the steps of I believe the second floor of the hotel, and Puff is in that same situation. He's getting too big for his bridges. They like, look, they like this. Listen, nigga, we made you. You ain't get here by your education. We make the education. That's why when you go to school, we teach you how to work for us. We don't teach you how to build a business. All you out there that got your own business, you got it based on your own education. You didn't go to school for it. Or maybe you did, you went and got a business license, but it was a business license to learn how to run other people's business, not your business. You had to step out of that circle and make your own business. You had to step out of that circle and sacrifice and suffer and go through the struggles in order to build your education. Can't teach you that. You know what I'm saying? You had to make your own. So Puff, they had to slow him up. And one thing about the enemy is they watch you. They know your strengths and they know your flaws. All that kinky stuff, they introduce him into all of that stuff. And he was involved in it. And he probably got so turned on about it, he said, yo, I want to do my own thing. I don't want to probably do all this freak off stuff at swinger parties and everything. You know what I'm saying? I want to do this on my own. This is his fetish. You know what I mean? So they try to come at him. They try to come at him with this RICO charge, with sex trafficking, and all of this crap. Let me tell you something. First and foremost, when Puff said he was a swinger, I kind of went for that. Kind of went for that one. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in that lifestyle. And but what Puffy was doing is not swinger behavior. I would say it has some. I would say it's a great area with it because you're involving a third party into your bedroom. That's like the lifestyle. But wholeheartedly have both feet in it, you are actually going to parties where there's multiple people. That's why they call it the lifestyle or swinger parties because there's multiple people. It's not just you and somebody else. That's a regular threesome. Or better yet, since he was calling men over, excuse me, since Cassie was calling the men over, that is considered her calling a bull. A bull is a male that comes to have sexual altercation with a couple. But now look how they try to twist it because the prosecutors was playing a dirty game and they cheated. They cheated. They circumvented and played games with the law and they made a mess of it. You know what I'm saying? In order to get this black man, because somebody knocked on their door and told them, your career could go somewhere. We need you to do this. What's the difference between a prostitute and an escort? Do you know? No, really, it's a good question. Do you know the difference between a prostitute and an escort? Because see, Puffy was so smart, he didn't get his hands dirty. Cassie called for the escorts every time. Anytime he was with another female, they called the escorts. He didn't get his hands in anything because why? Through experience in the music industry and all the lawsuits and all the charges being brought against him, he was smart enough to keep his hands away from all of that. Just like Jay-Z. You think Jay-Z's perfect? He's just smart. How Scarface said it? He said, you know how to lie. He said, you need people like me because I put it out in the front of your face. But you're good at lying. You know how to hide. And that's JC. You know how to hide. Solange went off for him in the elevator. We all said because he was cheating. And he admitted that he was cheating in the song, but you ain't know that. But he knew how to hide and lie because his wife didn't find out until something came out. Speaking of him, he just had a son that came out there and all of a sudden dropped the paternity lawsuit against Jay. I wonder why he dropped it. Settled out, huh? They say allegedly that the results came back and he's the father. But Beyonce don't want nothing to do with it because she got an image. I don't want nothing to go. Man, please, this was before you even came out the house. This man was born. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother time. You could talk about that another time. But the difference between an escort and a prostitute. Let's get into it, right? Let me show you how dirty the prosecution, how the system is when they trying to catch you. Yeah, I believe it's his too, Monica. I don't know why it's not popping up on my phone like that. But okay. But let me tell you the difference. An escort is a companion and he or she is recovering compensation for his or her time spent with a client. Hear that? An escort is a companion, not a sex worker, a companion. And she or he is recovering compensation for his or her time spent with a client. This compensation is in the form of a donation. The client agrees to pay a donation for an agreed upon time, agreed amount of time. No mention of sex. A price for a certain sex act is not mentioned or discussed. We'll stop right there. So when the Punisher testified, he said, no, I'm not a prostitute, I'm an escort. He said, I work for a private company. You notice the company is not on trial because there's no sex talk, there's no form or contract dealing with sex. It's your time spent. So Cassie pays the company, and when they come in and they own private session, they discuss what they ever want to discuss about. They do it on their own. He didn't say, I set a price. Now, one time you heard in that trial, he said, I told Puffy my price for my time. They said after everything was done, she gave him an envelope and said, this is a bonus. See the talk? Sex is not discussed. Look, it is all about time. What happens between the two consenting adults during that time is between the two consenting adults, not the company. See what I'm saying? This is why you don't see no RICO cases between no escorts. As long as money for sex or a particular sex act is not part of the conversation. So you're just an escort. All celebrities have escorts, females and male. You see them on the red carpet, you say, oh, who's this date? Oh, she has a new boo, then you never see him again. These are escorts. These are escorts. They take them to special events like the BET, the Grammys, the Oscars, and they always have something on their arm. These are escorts. Or they spend time like a lot of these celebrities who was rumored to have questionable sexual lifestyle, such as at the time when I was growing up, they was afraid to say they was homosexuals, they were gay, or they were lesbians. So they would pay people to come on their arm and the rumors would go away. And they said, oh, they're not gay. Look, they got somebody. These are escorts. This is what an escort is. Now, everyone knows that escorts are really charging for sex. Everyone knows that. Bill Clinton knew that. Donald Trump knows that. All these guys that's up in the air, we all heard about it, right? But use the above definition to try and protect themselves for arrest. So when you go to an escort service and you say, yo, I want Joe Blow, and you look through the portfolio and you say, oh, I like this female, I like this guy. Yo, how much? I want to just hang out with them. Oh, you have dinner and they'll meet you there and you'll say, I'll bring the car and I'll pick them up. And then they'll go and have dinner or they'll go to a showcase. And after that, whatever goes on between them goes on between them. That's how they get protected, these escort companies. So the prosecutors knew this. Maureen Cumley, the lead prosecutor, whose father was the former deputy director of the Department of Justice. So she had a lot of power and pull because of her father, right? And she fell for the okie note, the banana in the tailpipe, that her career would have took off if she would have prosecuted Puff under this. Because everybody knows what goes on with escorts. So she used this as ammunition to intimidate these escorts into saying, we know drugs was involved. Diddy had drugs in there. We know Diddy was doing this. We had sex because they probably spoke to Cassie and Cassie done spilled the beans and snitched. All of them was rats. Not all of them, as a matter of fact, that took the stand. At least two of them said, I don't want to be here. They already blew it up in the corporate scene and said, the prosecutors forced my hand. They told me if I don't do it, I'll go to jail. They said this right on the stand. They said, if I don't do this, they told me I'm going to go to jail. And that's why each and everyone got immunity. Immunity, which means you could go up there and lie like Dawn, what's her name? Dawn Richardson, I believe her name is, where she lied on the stand at least 13 times. And she not once went to jail. Why? Because she got perjury. So then, in other words, you had the green light to snitch and lie about anything that they wanted them to lie about just to make a case. This is the same prosecutor that was holding Jeff Epstein case. And at first, Jeff Epstein, check it out, he pleaded guilty in 2008 for sex trafficking and for the minor. They gave him, I believe it was 3 years. He was going to do 18 months in a minimum security. Check this out. Why? Because he had politicians in the pocket. They was all coming to this island getting they freak off. They said the list came out. They got Oprah up there. They got Gail up there. They got Ellen DeGeneres. They got Jay Leno. They got all top politicians. This man had a whole island of young freakies. And what goes on his island stayed on the island. And they all took his private jet. You had to take his jet to come over there. They all got their names documented. So he had political power. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. He had political power. That's why he did that. But this female, she went around everything and decided that she was going to prosecute him and bring up federal charges against Jeff Epstein. So everybody was like, yo, what is this woman doing? Like, you stepping on toes, like you ain't following what's going on. Like, you bugging out. Puffy was on the island too. Like, you wilding. And the female, what's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeff Epstein's co-defendant. She copped out. No, she was found guilty in trial. They gave her 20 years. To be honest, I mean, at her age, that is something. But the charges that she brought up with minors and all of that, that was life. She was supposed to get life. That was a RICO. She got was 20 years for transporting minors from one island to another from different states all around America and all around the country. He had an international organization going on. And all she got was 20 years. And they've been doing that for over like 15 years. That was political power. And she got an appeal in. Jeff Epstein, they said, he mysteriously hung himself and he died before he was ever put to trial. I guess some people felt, allegedly that he was better off quiet permanently than him going to trial, turn state's evidence. Or maybe they got wind that he was going to say something. They was like, because, when you get locked up for something like that, high profile cases around politicians and everything, they put all kind of people around you to make sure you ain't talking. They bugging the phones when you on the phone. And he probably says something that they didn't like. And it was like, you know what? It's time for him to go. I mean, why kill yourself? You got a lot of politicians in your pocket. It don't add up. I mean, it wouldn't add up to me. You know what I'm saying? So Puff is in the same situation. She tried to do that to Puff. Puff got a lot of politicians in his pocket. He's very powerful. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it don't add up. It definitely don't add up. You know what I'm saying? This man was about to come home. He's about to do 18 months for sex trafficking for over 15 years of minors. He got a state case over that. She went around the corner, around everybody to make a name for herself and said, I'm bringing federal charges. Right? He smoked his boots. They said, yo, she bugging. And like I said, he must have said something that they heard and they didn't like. And they even saying his suicide is questionable because they said it don't add up. They said the way he kills himself, it just don't add up. You know what I'm saying? So they smoked her boots. Maureen Comley, after the Diddy trial, fired. Diddy coming after everybody. You know what I'm saying? You remember the guy that dropped that book or said that Kim Porter gave him this, where her life story and everything was going on with Sean Diddy Combs. He went on a podcast. I forgot the lady name. I had it too on my notes. I forgot the lady name. But instead of her checking in and getting her facts right, a lot of us thought, along with you, thought Diddy was finished. And she was like, he going down. You know what I'm saying? And I'm putting this out there. Guess what? Diddy's suing her right now for $20 million. Talk back to me. He coming after everybody. He coming after, and another reason why I say he the king of New York, he ain't even snitch. He ain't take no plea. He didn't cop out. He leveled his money up. He went and got his lawyers, and he took the whole United States government to trial. Like, let's go. I'm a gangster. I ain't telling on nobody. Kept it quiet. You can say what you want about Diddy, but I could say all those so-called tough dudes that you heard about, he robbed them of their publishing. Lots didn't get their publishing until 20 years later. They just now getting it. Can't eat off that no more. He milked it. You ain't did nothing. Mace turned the pastor. You ain't did nothing. Sean, he changed. He messed Sean up so bad. Sean changed religions. He became he not even an Israel. He became a full Jew. He's sitting there with the top hat, looking like one of the white Jewish dudes with some locks in his head, sitting there at the wall. I'm looking at this dude like this clown, man. Now all of a sudden you drop that, and now you shave your head and put some waves in your hair. Now you're a politician in Belize. Now you're a politician. You know what I'm saying? Now he's shooting darts at Puffy, talking about karma. What karma? He beat the Rico. He about to come home. And they just put another bail hearing on, a motion for bail for him to come out before sentencing. He like, yeah, because now this prosecutor's fired. You can't say nothing now. Let me out. Because she the one that put in the motion to stop it. So they denied them bail. He put another. As soon as he got fired, he's going to put in another one. Let's go. Go back to me. That's the real king in New York right there. That's why his name is Frank Black instead of Frank White. Frank Black, a.k.a. Frank White. That was Biggie name. That's the king of New York, man. He already proved it what it is. Now, I know you're saying, how is he king of New York, but he's still in jail. He beat the Rico. He beat life. Let me tell you something. If you ain't never been incarcerated before, then you don't know the feeling. He got charged him for prostitution of a Mann Act, for prostitution from state lines. This is with the escorts that I just read. This is not prostitution. He didn't pay them not one dime. It was Cassie that gave them the money. It was Jane Doe that gave them money, because that was the 2 counts. He was found guilty of sex trafficking with Cassie, with the male escorts, and one with Jane Doe with the male escorts. That's it. Nothing else. Everything else he beat. That's the only 2 counts. And you can't give him 20 life because this is first offense. Can't give him 20 years. His status is 0. 0. Which means you can't give him nothing but 5 years. And that's all the prosecutors wanted. They want 5 years. You can't even give him that. You can't even give him that. Because once it's 85% of your time, you already got 10 months in. He just got approved for the drug program that he's in jail with right now. He got approved for that. So that's a year off his time. And then there's another one he got, another program he got approved for. I forgot the name of it. It's another program. And for him admitting his wrongs. Once he get in there with his probation investigation, for him admitting wrong, he get another year off. What you gonna give him out of 5 years? What? A year? 18 months? And yeah, all right. So what, he got sex offender on there? Who actually gonna turn Diddy back around for being a sex offender? Let's be for real. Especially we all know about his case. So everybody they put up against Puff got smashed out. Everybody got smashed out. Anybody that went against him all the way down to Suge Knight and Tupac, gone. Can't tell me this man not the king of New York. And I ain't talking about no lyrics. I'm talking about him just doing all the above. Street stuff, and went against the government. Still standing and about to come home. And still got all his money, everything, because guess what? He beat the Rico. So you up there now is so mad, some of you. I see you on Facebook, and now you're making all these fake memes with Diddy oil and baby oil. That's all you got. You can't do nothing else. He don't care. He about to come home. You can make everything you want. He's still a billionaire. And everybody that's still out there in his field that's actually still sleeping with your minors that he know about that he didn't tell, he's gonna still do business with him. He's gonna still business with him. Oh, shout out to Gene Dale. I see you over there hating. I gotta call him out. Tisa Tells, I see you over there hating. You know what I'm saying? Gene Dale been snitching for 20 something years. You only been around them for around Biggie and Puff for about 2 years, to no more than 3. How is it that you have 20 years of stories? Why are you lying so much? He even came to the trial. I saw his big, tall, fat self on the screen walking to the trial. Nobody called for you. Why are you there? Why are you there? He's so upset. He's making videos about Puff that he upset that Puff beat the cases. He like, man, y'all don't know. Y'all letting him go. Now he talking about it's his money. It's his money. Before you were saying he was going down. Then you talking about, yo, if they call me a witness, I'll go. Before what? This is about sex trafficking. You weren't even involved. You stopped being in Puff life in the early 2000s. What can you talk about? This dude was not only police, but he was a probation officer. He was actually putting dudes in jail, taking their urine, watching their wee-wee, right? He was watching their wee-wee, because that's what they do. He watched the wee-wee, and he watched them urinate in a cup. And after that, he took the pee, and then he go tested it. So he was doing this through his whole career. He was watching wee-wees. You're not on Puff level. Puff ain't watching wee-wees. We already heard in the trial, Puff was watching coochies. You know what I'm saying? You're not on the same level as Puff. You're not on the same level. You locking people up, taking their freedom away. And since you're so biased, and we see how biased you are, that means you was biased to people that you had on your caseload, and you were sending them to jail for some foul stuff. That's why I don't dig him. Tisa Tells, same thing. She running off with the mouth. Talking about Diddy's going to jail, giving false information to the point that she's not even on the case. A judge had to put a certain gag order on her. Check that out. Hey, you go check her out. Tisa Tells, you go check her out. I ain't promoting you. You trash. Y'all gonna see what I'm talking about. You're gonna be like, yo, she is, man. You listen to her. You'll think that she's upset that she didn't get a chance to sleep with me. I'm serious. Because she was always, and a lot of them was always talking about what the prosecutor is saying. Like they're here across examination and they'll run right outside the courthouse and they'll be like, oh, he's going down. Look what happened. Nothing happened. This lawyer smashed every witness. As a matter of fact, let me tell you how bad he is as a king in New York. He didn't even call no witnesses. He used the government witnesses against them. Yo, you can't make this up, man. You can't tell me Puff ain't a bad man. You seen him for knowledge? Yeah. You can't tell me Puff ain't a bad man. I never seen someone is fighting a RICO case and they call no witnesses and use the government witnesses as their witnesses against them. And all of their witnesses got smashed out, all the way down to the psychiatrist got smashed out. Everybody. The case was such a mess. The lead prosecutor, Maureen Cumley, they fired her. As soon as the case was over, they're fired. Donald Trump, DOJ office, his lead people that's running the department, they get out of there. And plus, I know Puff don't like me like that as a project, but me and Puff got history. Get out of there. Why? Because for the past 15 years, he was at the Trump Plaza, baby, spending $30,000 a night almost every weekend. He spent millions in the Trump Plaza. Trying to tell me they ain't friends in a certain degree? I mean, he may not like what I'm doing, but that means they're not shaking hands. There's a lot that's going on that I don't like what family members do or my friends do. That don't mean I'll stop talking to them. We just got a different outlook or something. You know what I'm saying? They smoked her boots. Now they said, good. Now we're going to put the motion in for another bail. I'm going to get out before I get sentenced. And I watch he get out. Watch he get out. I would just hope that when he get out, just keep it calm, keep it quiet. Don't throw no parties. Don't talk about he the king of New York and all of that stuff. Just keep it smooth. But knowing him, he is, and he gonna spend time with his family. Because you know why? He saw all his real friends is. All his real friends, they disappeared on him. You know what I'm saying? The only one that was coming to see him was Kanye. That was the only one that came to see him was Kanye West. Why? Because Kanye been in that same situation. They try to make us think that Kanye was crazy because of things he was doing. Nah, Kanye wasn't crazy. You know what I'm saying? He knew exactly what he's doing. Check it out on Drink Champs. Listen to what he's saying. Yeah, I know you judge him by what he's wearing because you already make him out to seem like he's crazy. So he gonna dress and keep up your rumors to keep his name out there. But look, he's not crazy. He's not illiterate. He's still a billionaire. Check your bank account. Who's smarter than who? I'm just saying. I know you're saying his net worth is 400,000. Yeah, his net worth is 400,000 because he no longer has contracts with certain companies. So his net worth falls, not his bank account. He still got about 5 or 10% earnings in all Kim Kardashian's business. He's set for life. But you ain't know that though. You ain't know that. Kanye been in the same shoes. A lot of people been in the same shoe. Bill Cosby been in the same shoes. R. Kelly, same shoes. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't defending R. Kelly. You know, he liked the minors. He did what he did. You know what I mean? But he went about it the right way, which is wrong. But he went about it the right way. You know what I mean? He knocked on the doors of the parents. Yo, listen, I like your daughter. So the parents said, "What's up?" And they made an agreement. If she gonna come on, so I'm gonna put her on. He kept sending them checks, and they ain't care. You can't tell me you ain't hear from your daughter, your 16 or 17, 18-year-old daughter in 2 years, and you didn't think nothing of it? Huh? You crazy? My daughter go for 2 years. Matter of fact, I ain't even hit 30 days. Yo, what's up? Matter of fact, we're making a family group chat. So every morning good morning, what's up? What's going on? 2 years? Are you crazy? Out of your mind? But they went on TMZ or one of them shows on Netflix, and they all sat down and talked about how they was victims of R. Kelly. And they all said the same thing, like it was all rehearsed. They got R. Kelly in there singing songs and stuff in prison. He just made a good song by Malcolm Jamal Warner, who suddenly drowned because he was making a documentary on how children was exposed in Hollywood and taken advantage of, like he was taken advantage of when he was growing up through the Cosby Show era. You know what I'm saying? Not towards Bill Cosby, but just Hollywood itself. See, like anytime somebody want to get at somebody against music, business, or politicians, end up in dead or in jail. Told back to me. Am I lying? Yeah. But I want to say thank y'all for listening. I want to hold y'all up. I know my children in here want to start blasting their drill music. I'm taking up their time. I know I'm taking up your time. So with that being said, y'all have a good night. Thank you for listening. And God bless you. Later. Good night.